If you want to understand how Elon Musk builds empires, you can't just look at a balance sheet. That's not where the story is. No, you have to look at the moments of near total failure. The moments where his entire fortune, his reputation, his dreams were all about to just vaporize. Because it's right there, in those crises, that his most powerful money rules were literally forged in fire. Okay, let's set the scene. The year is 2008, and for Musk, that quote, that's not some metaphor, it's his day-to-day reality. His rocket company, SpaceX, has just watched its third launch fail spectacularly. He's almost completely out of money. At the exact same time, his electric car company, Tesla, is hemorrhaging cash during a global financial meltdown and is just days away from total bankruptcy. He's right on the verge of losing it all. So how on earth did he get here? And maybe more importantly, how did he survive? To really understand that breaking point in 2008, we have to rewind. We have to go all the way back to the beginning. Because his story, well, it doesn't start with privilege. It starts with the desperate need to escape. Musk's childhood in South Africa was tough. In his own words, it was violent and deeply unhappy. He was this bookish kid, a total nerd, who was just relentlessly bullied. But he found his escape in computers. Can you believe at just 10 years old, he taught himself how to code? And by 12, he sold his first video game for $500. This wasn't just a hobby, you see. It was the start of a plan. At 17, he left South Africa for North America all alone, totally convinced it was the one place he could build the future he was dreaming of. So when he finally lands in Silicon Valley, he's not really trying to get rich, not in the way most people think. For him, money was becoming a kind of score, a way to keep track of his progress. But it was never, ever the real prize. He was trying to learn how to play the game of creation, of innovation, on the biggest stage in the world. He and his brother Kimball started their first company, Zip2. And get this, they had one computer. So during the day, they ran the website on it, and then at night, Elon would code on it. And when he was finally done coding, he just slept on a couch right there in that same tiny office. He showered at a local gym. It was pure, 100% unadulterated grit. And you know what? It paid off. Big time. 4 years later, in 1999, the tech company Compaq bought Zip2. Elon Musk, the kid who was literally sleeping on an office couch, was suddenly a multi-millionaire at just 27 years old. He'd won. He'd won the game, right? But what he did next, well, that showed he wasn't playing for the same prize as everybody else. This decision right here, this is the key to his entire financial philosophy. I mean, anyone else might cash out, buy a boat, whatever. He immediately saw his winnings as ammunition for the next, much bigger battle. He took nearly all of his $22 million and rolled it right into his next thing, a company that would, believe it or not, eventually become PayPal. And this right here gives us our first rule, really the foundation of the Musk algorithm. Money is not for comfort. It's not some trophy you put up on a shelf. It's a tool. It is fuel. And its only real purpose is to be poured straight into the engine of the next, even more ambitious mission. And that philosophy, that idea, was about to be tested by absolute fire. So let's jump back to 2008. All his winnings from the PayPal sale were now funding two impossibly hard ventures, SpaceX and Tesla, and both of them were on the brink of death at the same time. Over at SpaceX, the first 3 launches of his Falcon 1 rocket had all ended in these massive, fiery explosions. Each one of those failures burned through millions and millions of dollars. He had just enough cash left for one more attempt. If that one failed, SpaceX was done. Over. And at the same time, I mean, you can't make this up. The global financial crisis was absolutely strangling the auto industry. Tesla's production costs were out of control. Investors were running for the hills. The company was literally days away from not having enough money to make payroll, right before Christmas. So he's facing this impossible choice. He has this tiny, dwindling pile of cash left from the PayPal deal. He could save one company and just let the other one die. Or he could risk everything he had left in the entire world on a desperate, last-ditch attempt to save them both. I mean, really think about it. What would you do? He went for broke. He scraped together his last $40 million and split it between the two companies, pushing both to the absolute ragged edge. He wasn't betting on the market, he wasn't betting on investors. He was betting everything on his own maniacal, crazy determination to make it work. So, on September 28th, 2008, the fourth Falcon 1 rocket lifts off. Remember, the first three had failed. If this one goes down, the company is dead. The entire world is watching. And this time, it worked. It actually became the first privately developed liquid fuel rocket to reach Earth's orbit. That success was everything. Just a few weeks later, NASA, seeing that his technology was for real, awarded SpaceX a contract to resupply to International Space Station. The value? A cool $1.6 billion. SpaceX was saved, and that NASA contract gave investors just enough confidence to pour money back into Tesla, saving it at the last possible second. But that survival, it wasn't just grit. It wasn't just luck. It was the result of this really powerful mental model he used to build his companies in a way that just seemed impossible to everyone else. See, he doesn't think about money like an accountant. He thinks about it like a physicist. He boils every single problem down to what he calls first principles. He just breaks it down to its most fundamental truths and then reasons up from there. And to do this, he came up with a concept he calls the idiot index. He looks at the cost of a finished part and compares it to the cost of its raw materials. If there's this huge gap between the two, he knows the price is inflated by, well, lazy engineering and inefficient processes. Take this for an example. Really early on, SpaceX needed a part called an actuator for its rocket. A traditional aerospace supplier quoted them a price of $120,000. Musk thought that was just insane. He said the part was basically no more complex than a garage door opener. So he told his engineer, just build it yourself in-house. The final cost? $5,000. Okay, here's another one. A latch that was certified for spaceflight cost $1,500 from NASA suppliers. A SpaceX engineer realized they could just modify a latch that was used in a bathroom stall. The cost of their new certified part? $30. $30! This brings us right to the second rule of the Musk algorithm. You have to question every single requirement. He would grill his engineers asking, who made this rule? Was it the military, the legal department? He'd insist on knowing the actual name of the person who made the rule. Because, in his mind, unless it's a law of physics, it's not a law. It's just a suggestion, and it can be changed. So, with survival secured and a method for building the impossible, the true purpose behind all that risk-taking really came into focus. It was never just about building companies. It was about what those companies could actually do. And this is the final piece of the whole puzzle. Musk is famously cash poor. Almost all of his incredible wealth is tied up in the shares of his companies. He's not interested in yachts or islands. Money is not a status symbol. For him, every single dollar is a resource, a unit of energy that has to be deployed towards accomplishing the mission. And these are the missions where all that energy goes. They reveal the why behind the whole algorithm. See, Tesla isn't just a car company. It's the application of rule number 3, accelerate the transition to sustainable energy. And SpaceX isn't just a rocket company. Its goal is the application of rule number 4, make humanity a multiplanetary species, which all points to the final and maybe the most important rule of the algorithm. Rule number 5, the goal isn't profit. Profit is just a byproduct. The real goal is progress. So when you look at it all together, reinvesting everything, questioning the impossible, and focusing on a mission that's way bigger than money, you really start to see the algorithm. It's a mindset that took him from a couch in a rented office to the absolute edge of bankruptcy, and ultimately to changing the world. These rules were forged under unimaginable pressure. And the question they kind of leave us with is, what could a mindset like that build for you?